It's a big stack. Do I try and hold it? Hey, what's going on, Average Joe readers? And today I wanted to talk about some of the physical books that I own, some of the series that I own that I have yet to start. I talk a lot about Kindle books and Kindle Unlimited, and I don't exactly have too many physical books that I've shown off, but they're all scattered throughout the house. If you notice, I don't have a bookshelf behind me like most booktubers, but that's because I have like 4 different rooms with books in them, and my office isn't set up to have a bookshelf in it. So this is just like some of the books that I read that my wife wouldn't, and there's some in my entertainment center. There's some around the TV downstairs and in the stairwell, and yeah, they're all over the place. We just like them scattered. We don't have dedicated bookshelves, but I do own books. I do read physical books still, not just Kindle books. I usually always have a physical book going once at a time, along with a Kindle book. Right now, it's Count of Monte Cristo, and that is taking me forever. But once I do finish it, I would like to pick up some of these series. So I wanted to bring up some of the series that I own, typically at least the first 2 books, maybe even the entire series. And then I want to get to at some point in time, once my physical reading, once my book is cleared up. So I'm going to talk about some of the ones that I own that I would like to. I don't know how many are on here. I did not count. But let's dive into some of these. So, and these might be some recommendations that you have not heard of. So, win-win. First one is going to be The Song of All. And that is a trilogy that I forgot the name of the series, but it has a very wintry, dark feeling to it. I've heard only Holly Hartz talk about this book, and she seemed to like it. And the Goodreads review right now on this, the book 1 isn't that great, but book 2 and 3 got better. I think 3 just recently came out, so we'll see what the ratings are over time. But a very cold type setting in the first one, and then judging by the covers, that gets warmer in spring stuff. So this might be a good winter read to have because it'd be atmospheric, and where I live, winter doesn't really exist. So maybe I might need a little bit of winter pick me up. But the Song of All sounds pretty cool. I think this has a, kind of a tropey vibe to it of there was this old warrior, and then he got rid of his vow. There's this old warrior that I think turned his back on his vows and then went and became a farmer because that happens a lot for some reason in fantasy. And then he's brought back into the fold, and there's gods and there's wars, and typical fantasy stuff. Could be a possibility. Next, this one is one of my favorite cans to kick down the road. I've owned this for so long, and that is illuminae. And it just seems like something I would absolutely love. I love how the structure of it is like these journal entries, there's maps, there's like these interviews and stuff. One of the books that I've read before that I love this setup, this type of structure, was the Themis Files. And even though the 3rd book in that series isn't very good, the first 1 and 2 are awesome, and I really like the structure of it. And so I think I would love this one. I own the 1st and the 3rd because I just bought them out of order, and I really want to get to it. There's so many times where I've had it and I'm like, yep, I think I'm going to pick it up, and then something else would come up. So I really need to get into this. I don't know how many other people have read this. Some people, I think there's a drop off toward the 3rd or something, but a lot of people love illuminae. So I don't know why I keep kicking this can down the road, but I really need to get to it. Even though it's really thick and seems like a lot, like not all the pages are full of text, so I don't think it's going to take that long to read, depending on how I feel about the structure. It seems like there would be a good mystery to it as well, like figuring things out. So I just need to get on it, and especially if I need a sci-fi. The next one I'm almost surprised not many people are talking about, and it's because this author has a ton of books in fantasy, and I've never even heard his name talking fantasy, but he's got a ton of books, and there seems like there was some sort of cult following for his for a long time, but he came out with another trilogy, and maybe people just don't like him personally. I don't know. I don't keep in touch with that much, but that is aresalvatores Child of the Mad God. I really like these covers too. on the books. I have the first and the second. The third is out. I just haven't gotten it yet. I got these pretty cheap. And again, Holly Hearts loved this trilogy, and I think it sounds really awesome. A battle between clans, and there's one clan that lives in the mountains that like everybody doesn't like, and there are wars brewing, and again, a very cold, mountainy type setting. I just think it'd be cool to have a nice. It's not that long, but it is an adult fantasy, and I really want to get to it. It just seems really awesome. And I mean, it's got my favorite thing, which is the completed series. So all I have to do is buy the third one. I think I buy the first two in series all the time without buying the last one because it's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like it, but by chance, if I do like the first book, I'll at least have the second book. And then if I know that I'm going to like it, then I'll have time between ordering the third book and I'll get it. So maybe that's just my logic in my head. And if I see a deal, then I see a deal. Okay. Next one. This one really, there's um no real true reason why I haven't really picked it up yet, mostly because I've already reading his other work, so I'm not in a huge rush. But this is Michael J. Sullivan's got a sticker on it. Michael J. Sullivan's Age of Myth, and this is the book one of This is book one of Legends of the First Empire. Michael J. Sullivan. So I have done the first two books in Ryer, and when I say first two books, I mean the first two omnibuses, I guess. So I guess the first four books technically, but if they're bound together, it's one book to me. So I'm on the third, which is the third one in Rare Revelations, and I have ordered Chronicles, the Rare Chronicles box set, along with some new book that he came out with. And I don't know, he had a pledge on his website that you can pledge for whatever he's doing. He'll send you some things, and you can add things to it, and it comes directly from him. And I was actually exchanging emails from his wife to for ordering and make sure they can ship to where I live. So yeah, I'm definitely into on Michael J. Sullivan. It's kind of funny. I owned the four books in this. I think there's six, and I owned Rhaenyra trilogy, and I had never even read anything of his yet, and I already owned seven of his books. So, but it paid off because I love Rhaenyra, and I've heard good things about this as well. So I really want to get to it. Next one, unsure how it's going to go because this is a very mixed feelings type of read on BookTube, and that is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. And some of the issues that people have with it are the wording and how the descriptions go and how weird and cheesy and just awful they can be. I feel like if nobody pointed them out to me, I don't know if I would have even noticed. And then other people mentioned footnotes where I'm not even sure if, oh, no, I see a couple of footnotes, but I don't think it's going to be that weird. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it'd be too bad. It's, bloody assassin novels are, I think would be cool. I have yet to find a really, truly good assassin book. I think the only one that I've really liked is Night Angel, but I read that like 8 years ago. So I'm unsure how much I would like it now, and I don't really want to reread it to tarnish my memory of it. So I think an assassin book, an assassin school. I've heard it's very bloody, very gory. So that's kind of up my alley. I just know that there's mixed reviews on it, but I will be the judge of that. Next one, this has YA written all over it, and I own six of these books. It's a 6-book series. It might even be more. I have no idea. I think it was just one of those times where I was on Book Outlet and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy the 5 of these books because they're $5 a piece or even less." So awesome, sure, I'll do it. And I heard good things about it, and I think sometimes a YA tropey fantasy maybe might be good, especially after this might be something I pick up after Count of Monte Cristo because I don't want to read classical literature and I need something that's exact opposite. But as the Falling Kingdoms, I don't know too much about it. I've heard it's a good adventure type novel, adventure series. Like I said, there are 6 books. The covers are really cool, and lots of POVs. It's big fun. I think these would be a fast-ish read, and I could just sprinkle these in when I can. This is a series that even though it's 6 books, I wouldn't worry about speeding through. Just pick up as I go because most times you can take months breaks of these and then just pick right up, and they're fine. So who knows if I'll get to it? Maybe I'll. Sometimes I own several YA series that I just kind of have my wife read first, and then she can tell me if I should or shouldn't read it. Like it's usually like it was good, but I don't know if it's for you. I'm like, Cool. All right, big one. This is a kind of a big name and one that I think I put on. I don't know if I put on my list this year, but it's one that everybody loves and that I need to get to. And I've yet to read any N.K. Jemisin. Zero N.K. Jemisin. I own this trilogy, the fifth season trilogy, or the Broken Earth trilogy, and I also own the Inheritance trilogy, the thick ass binding of it. So I really want to get to it. I know I was really excited when I first got it, and then the more people that reviewed it were saying that this is the best book in the series, and it kind of goes down from there, which I don't really mind. I think it'll still be fine, and I am pretty good at making my own judgment on books and series. So I really want to get to this. This is kind of highest on this list, maybe depending on what fantasy I am feeling in the mood for. But yes, I know it's fantastic, and yeah, it's gonna happen. I don't know. All right, this one, Ember in the Ashes. I've got the old classic cover, which a lot burned a lot of people, got a lot of people hot and bothered because first book came out and then all the other ones released in different covers, and people with collection OCD are livid. So I own this cover and this one, and I own the second book in the newer white covers. And I do like that it's a different kind of fantasy, being in like I think Middle Eastern or such setting. I forget what, but I do like that it's a new kind of setting. Definitely also another one that has mixed reviews of how the series goes on. Like it starts off very promising, then it kind of goes hit or miss. But these are still coming out as well. So I haven't started this one because the other ones are coming out. However, this might be one where I will read the first book, see how I feel about it, and then decide to continue or not. And this is like huge font double space, so it seems a lot bigger than it is. So I don't know when I'll ever get to this. This might be like a completely mood random read, um, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Considering some of those books that I've already thrown to the side are much more appealing to me. Next one, this one really intrigues me, and every time I look at the covers, I think I want to start it, and I think it's YA, but that is the Truthwitch and the I forgot what the series is called. Something with witches, and there's like Truth Witch, Wind Witch, Blood Witch. It's like a 4 book series with one novella, and each of these worlds, everybody has uh, or these different kingdoms are fighting, and I think each of them have different types of witches, and whatever witch you are, I guess if you're a wind witch, you can control the wind. I don't know what truth witches do. There's a sight witch, maybe they can just see really good. I don't know, but it sounds really cool because it's that type of I think it seems like a different spin on elemental magic. I am a fan of elemental magic, and sometimes when you're reading adult fantasy, a lot of times magic isn't always a priority when it comes to adult fantasy. It's more about the world, the character, the plot, and more themes like that. But I think sometimes I'm just in the mood for some magic, and I think this could be something that would be good for that. I own 3 of the books. I don't even know which ones I own. I don't even know what the order of them are. I think this is the first one, Truth Witch, but I own 2 others as well, and they do sound pretty interesting. Next, a very popular series, City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. Heard lots of good things about this trilogy. I own the first 2, and it does sound very interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it. I do kind of like the doom and gloom ish feel setting that it might bring, and I just heard fantastic things about it. So this could be a really fun read to throw in. Most people that have read this have really liked it, but I've never read anything by Robert Jackson Bennett as well. I'm not sure what other series he has, but I know he has some very good ones that a lot of people really like this author. So I'd like to get this mostly because I want to try new authors. Next one. Okay, so I got some more sci-fi here. And this is 1,000 Pieces of You, and it has to do with alternate dimensions. Apparently, the protagonist's mother invents something called a Firebird that allows you to leap into alternate dimensions. And if you see on the cover, there's a right side up and an upside down city. So I think this one would be really cool if you're in the mood for alternate dimensions. I have 3 books. I think it's more than 3 books though. I want to say it's like 4 to 6. I'm not really sure. It could just be a trilogy. I'm not really sure. But There's also a murder mystery. What it seems like the main protagonist's father is murdered. So a murder mystery with alternate dimensions sounds freaking awesome. I love murder mysteries and mysteries in general, and this one has a sci-fi alternate dimension feel to it. I'm not sure how it's going to drag on for 3+ books, but it could get kind of crazy. So if you like physics and alternate dimensions and mysteries, this might be a cool read. So yeah. The last one is This Mortal Coil. I know Megan at Megan's Reading Revelations talked about this one. I think in a sci-fi type. It was one of her list reads, and I was like, "Yes, I have that. That sounds awesome." However, she was describing it, so I am into this one. I have the second one as well. It's sci-fi. Has to do with it seems like implanted technology, so maybe cyborg-esque things. Uh, yeah, I like I like having sci-fi just kind of on the to throw in between sometimes. I think I still stray more toward fantasy, but there's times where I think I just need a little sci-fi. So this might be a good read to throw into a sci-fi. This is like a thriller, I believe, thriller mystery type book, which I always like to throw in as in betweens. But this Mortal Coil sounds really cool, and I hope I can get to it at some point. So these weren't in any particular order. If you have any of these, or if they're on your list, or if you're interested in reading them, let me know and maybe I'll jump on it with you. Maybe we can organize some other people to read together or chat about it. I think it's always really awesome to read books with people. It might also push me to finally read some of these because, much like Count of Monte Cristo, I probably would have kicked that can way down the road if it wasn't for a few people reading on Megan's channel to do that. So if you have any of these that you want to read, interested in picking up, let me know. I'm sure some of these you can get fairly cheap as well and used. So yeah, and what are some series that you own that you've been kicking down the road for a long time and just need to pick up? Let me know down in the comments.